Madeline Carter was 3 hours into her evening delivery shift when she realized two things. Her feet hurt, and she was exactly $127 closer to Columbia Law School than she'd been this morning. Tell me where you're watching from, because tonight you'll discover that sometimes the best relationships start with the wrong address and Chinese takeout. The Tuesday had been long before the deliveries even started. 24 second graders had that specific brand of chaotic energy that came from too much sugar at lunch and not enough recess because of rain. Timmy had somehow gotten paint in his hair. Sophia had cried because she forgot her library book. 2 boys had gotten into a shoving match over who got to be line leader. By 3 p.m. when the final bell rang, Madeline's voice was hoarse from projecting over the noise. Her professional smile felt painted on, and she wanted nothing more than to go home and collapse on her couch. Instead, she went home, took the world's fastest shower, changed into jeans and her DoorDash t-shirt, and headed back out. Because Columbia Law School tuition was $75,000 a year, and her teacher salary of $52,000 barely covered rent, student loans from undergrad, and the basic cost of existing in New York City, which meant DoorDash 4 nights a week, usually 6 to 10 p.m., sometimes later if orders were good. She'd been doing this for 5 years, had $45,000 saved, only $240,000 more to go. The math was depressing when she thought about it too hard, so mostly she didn't. Just focused on the next delivery, the next tip, the next dollar added to the Columbia Fund. The first few deliveries of the night were fine. Thai food to a family in Park Slope, who tipped well. Sushi to a couple in Brooklyn Heights who tipped okay. Pizza to a group of college kids who tipped terribly. But whatever. She'd been a broke college kid once too. At 8 p.m., she got an order that made her hesitate. Delivery address. Sketchy part of Brooklyn she didn't love going to after dark. Pizza and wings. Customer name, Rodriguez. No special instructions. No tip pre-added. She almost declined it. But rent was due next week, and she was $200 short. She accepted the order. 20 minutes later, she was standing outside a rundown apartment building, 4th floor walk-up because the elevator was broken, holding a pizza box and a bag of wings that smelled amazing and made her stomach growl since she'd forgotten to eat dinner. Again. She knocked on apartment 4C. Heavy footsteps. Door jerked open. The man was maybe mid-30s, baseball cap backwards, eyes slightly unfocused in a way that set off alarm bells immediately. Drunk or high or both. "Pizza," Madeline said, keeping her voice professional and neutral. "That'll be $28.50. He took the box, opened it, counted slices. "Where's my extra garlic knots?" Madeline checked the receipt. "Order doesn't show garlic knots, sir. Just pizza and wings." "I ordered garlic knots. They always forget shit." "I can call the restaurant." "You trying to rip me off?" His voice got louder. "No, sir. I just deliver what the restaurant gives me. I want my fucking garlic knots or my money back." Madeline's heart started beating faster. She'd dealt with difficult customers before, but something about this guy's energy felt wrong. "I understand you're frustrated. Let me call the restaurant and we can—" He grabbed her wrist. Hard. "You're not leaving till I get a refund." Everything happened fast. He started pulling her toward the doorway. Madeline's brain screamed danger, and her body reacted before she could think. She kicked his shin as hard as she could, yanked her arm free, and ran. Down the hallway. Down 4 flights of stairs, her feet barely touching the steps. Out to her car. Locked the doors. Hands shaking so hard she could barely get the key in the ignition. She sat there for 30 seconds, breathing hard, waiting for him to follow. He didn't. She looked at her wrist, red marks where he'd grabbed her. Going to bruise. Great. She opened the DoorDash app with shaking fingers and reported the incident. Marked the delivery as unsafe. Blocked the customer. Then she sat in her car in the darkness and thought about how much she hated this job. 3 more years of this. Maybe 4. unless something went wrong and she had to dip into savings. Then 5 years. 6. She pressed her forehead against the steering wheel. Columbia, she whispered to herself. You're doing this for Columbia. Public defender, helping people, making a difference. This is temporary. Her wrist throbbed. She checked the app. One more delivery available nearby. Chinese food, good neighborhood, better tip. She could go home, should go home. But rent was due, and she was still $200 short. She accepted the delivery. Golden Dragon, the restaurant was called. She'd picked up from there before. Good food, efficient service, always packaged properly. She drove there, picked up the order. Spring rolls, kung pao chicken, fried rice, wonton soup. The bag was warm and smelled incredible. Address, 347 Prospect Avenue, Park Slope. Nice neighborhood. Brownstones, tree-lined streets, the kind of area where people had money and tipped accordingly. She pulled up to the address at 9:20 p.m. 3-story brownstone, lights on in the first-floor windows, well-maintained. Definitely a different vibe from the last delivery. She grabbed the bag, checked the app one more time. Order for Mr. Vasquez, $42, $50 worth of food. Walked up the front steps, rang the doorbell, waited. Her wrist was starting to really hurt now. She shifted the bag to her other hand. Footsteps inside. The kind of heavy, confident footsteps that belonged to someone tall. Door opened, and Madeline forgot how to breathe. The man in the doorway was wearing a robe. Dark gray, expensive-looking terry cloth, tied at the waist. His hair was damp, dark brown and slightly wavy, like he'd just gotten out of the shower. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with broad shoulders and the kind of build that suggested he spent time in a gym, but wasn't obsessive about it. His face was all sharp angles and strong features. Dark eyes, almost black, studying her with an intensity that made something in her stomach flip. Stubble along his jaw like he'd shaved this morning, but it was now 9 p.m. and biology was doing its thing. He was absurdly attractive. Like, unfairly attractive. And she was standing on his doorstep in a ketchup-stained DoorDash t-shirt with a bruised wrist and hair that had been in a ponytail for 14 hours. Perfect. Just perfect. Hi. Her voice came out too bright, too cheerful, overcompensating for the fact that her brain had momentarily short-circuited. Delivery for Mr. Vasquez? He looked at the bag in her hands, then back at her face. I didn't order anything. No. Please don't do this to her. Not tonight. Not after the guy who grabbed her wrist and this whole terrible day. 347, Prospect Avenue. She pulled out her phone with her free hand, checked the address. Yes, but I didn't order food. Madeline looked at her phone again, scrolled through the delivery details, and saw her mistake. 347. Prospect Place, not Avenue. Place. Different street entirely. Oh God, she said, deflating. I'm on the wrong street. I'm so sorry. I'll figure out the right address. She turned to leave, already dreading the drive across Park Slope to find Prospect Place, wherever that was, and this night couldn't end soon enough. Wait. She stopped, turned back. He was looking at her wrist, at the red marks that were definitely going to turn into bruises. What happened? His voice had changed, still deep, but sharper, concerned. Nothing. Wrong delivery, bad customer. It's fine. It's not fine. Someone grabbed you. It's handled. I reported it. Look, I'm really sorry for bothering you. I need to get this food to the right address. It's raining. She blinked. What? He nodded toward the street. She looked. Sure enough, rain had started while she was standing there. Light, but steady. Of course. Of course it was raining. Why wouldn't it be raining? I'm aware. she said, trying not to sound as defeated as she felt. You're going to get soaked driving across Brooklyn in the rain to deliver cold Chinese food to someone who's probably already called to complain. That's kind of my job. Come inside. What? Come inside. Dry off. I'll order you an Uber to the right address. You shouldn't be driving when you're shaking. Was she shaking? She looked at her hands. Oh, yeah. She was definitely shaking. I'm fine. You're not fine. Someone assaulted you an hour ago, and now you're standing in the rain trying to deliver food to the wrong address. Come inside. It wasn't a request. Wasn't even really an offer. It was just a statement, said with the kind of quiet certainty that made it feel reasonable instead of crazy. Madeline's brain said, stranger danger. This is how horror movies start. Girl delivers food to wrong house. Man in robe invites her inside. She's never seen again. But Madeline's brain also said, he has kind eyes, and you are shaking, and it is raining. And honestly, what is he going to do, murder you over Chinese food? Just for a minute, she heard herself say. He stepped back, held the door open. She walked inside. The brownstone interior was not what she expected. Exposed brick walls, warm lighting, modern furniture that managed to look both expensive and comfortable. Hardwood floors, high ceilings, art on the walls that looked real, and probably was. Everything was immaculately clean but lived in. This was not the home of someone who ordered Chinese delivery. This was the home of someone who had a private chef or something. Kitchen's this way, he said, already walking. She followed him through the living room into an open-concept kitchen with marble countertops and restaurant-quality appliances. He pulled out a bar stool at the counter. Sit. She sat. He disappeared for a moment, came back with a towel, handed it to her. For your hair. Thanks. She dried her hair, her face, her arms. The towel was soft and probably cost more than her entire outfit. He took the Chinese food bag, set it on the counter, pulled out the containers, opened them, examining the contents. Kung Pao chicken, he said. Fried rice, spring rolls, wonton soup. That's what Mr. Vasquez ordered, or someone did. What? He looked at her. Chinese is my second favorite food. What's first? Italian. I'm traditional that way. There was something in his voice, dry humor maybe, that made her almost smile despite everything. Well, Mr. Vasquez is going to be very disappointed when his second favorite food doesn't show up, Madeline said. The food's here. Wrong address, but here. You're wet and shaking. I haven't had dinner. He pulled 2 plates from the cabinet. Seems wasteful to let it go cold while you drive across Brooklyn. Wait, was he suggesting... Are you asking me to have dinner with you? I'm saying it would be practical. You need to eat. I need to eat. The food is here. You're a stranger. Ennio Marchetti. He extended his hand across the counter. Now I'm Ennio Marchetti, owner of this brownstone and appreciator of Chinese food, not a stranger. She stared at his hand for a second. Large hand, calloused in places, strong-looking. Not the soft hands of someone who only pushed papers. She shook it. Madeline Carter. Nice to meet you, Madeline Carter. Now you're not delivering to a stranger. You're having dinner with an acquaintance. Much less concerning. This is insane. Probably, but it's 9:30 on a Tuesday. You've had a terrible day and I'm offering you Chinese food. There are worse offers. He had a point. And honestly, her day had been so bizarre already that eating Chinese food with a stranger in a robe barely registered on the weird scale anymore. Okay, she said, but I'm paying for my half. The customer already paid. This one's on Mr. Vasquez. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think any of this is how it works, but here we are. He divided the food between 2 plates with the casual efficiency of someone who cooked often. Handed her chopsticks and a fork, like he wasn't sure which she preferred. She took the chopsticks. They ate in silence for maybe 30 seconds before Madeline's stomach growled audibly. "When did you last eat?" Ennio asked. "Lunch, maybe. I think I had a granola bar around noon." "You think?" "Teaching second graders doesn't leave a lot of time for meals. You kind of just grab food when you can and hope you remember to chew." "You're a teacher. Elementary. PS 321. Second grade. 24 kids, all of whom have more energy than any human should legally possess. And you do delivery at night." It wasn't a question, but she answered anyway. 4 nights a week, sometimes 5. "That's a lot. Columbia Law School is expensive." He paused with his chopsticks halfway to his mouth. "Law school. Eventually, I'm saving. Have been for 5 years. Should be able to afford it in another 3 years, maybe 4. Depends." "Depends on what?" "If my car dies, if I get sick and have to dip into savings, if rent goes up again, if..." She gestured vaguely. "Life. That's a long time to wait for something you want." "Yeah, well, not all of us have money for $300,000 law degrees just lying around." She said it without bitterness, just statement of fact, but it came out sharper than intended. She winced. "Sorry, I didn't mean... It's true. You're right." He took a bite of chicken, chewed thoughtfully. "What kind of law?" "Public defender, or nonprofit work. Something where I can actually help people who need it, not just people who can afford to pay for it." "Admirable. Or naive, depending on who you ask." "I'd say admirable." The way he said it, quiet and certain, made something in her chest warm. They ate in companionable silence for a few minutes. The food was good. Really good. She'd been smelling it in the car, and now actually eating it was almost enough to make her forget what a disaster the evening had been. Almost. "So," Madeline said, because silence felt weird and conversation felt less weird, "what do you do when you're not eating Chinese food with delivery drivers who show up at the wrong house?" "Real estate. Buy, sell, develop properties." "In Manhattan?" "Brooklyn, mostly. Some Manhattan. I prefer Brooklyn. Hence the brownstone. Hence the brownstone. Must be successful to afford Park Slope." "Comfortable," he said, which was probably rich person speak for very successful. "Do you live here alone?" "Yes. Big space for one person." "I like space. Fair enough." "What about you?" he asked. "Where do you live?" "Also Brooklyn, Prospect Heights. Small apartment, 1 bedroom. Rent controlled, thank God, or I'd never survive." "How long have you been in New York?" 7 years. Moved here for college, stayed after graduation. "You?" "Born here. 3rd generation New Yorker. Italian family, Brooklyn roots." That explained the last name. Marchetti. Italian. "Do you speak Italian?" "Fluently." "Show off." He smiled. Small smile, barely there. But it transformed his face from intimidating to almost approachable. Almost. Madeline's phone buzzed. She checked it. DoorDash notification. Customer requesting delivery status update. "Mr. Vasquez is getting impatient," she said. "Let me guess. He's called the restaurant. They've told him the driver has his food. He's confused and annoyed." "Probably." "Call him. Tell him you delivered to the wrong address. But the food has been consumed by grateful wrong address resident who will gladly pay for it. Give him this number." Ennio pulled out his phone. "I'll handle the complaint." "You don't have to. I'm eating his food. It's only fair." He had a point. She called the restaurant, explained the situation to a manager who sounded more amused than annoyed, gave them Ennio's number, was told they'd handle it with the customer, and Ennio directly. "Done," she said, hanging up. "You're now officially responsible for Mr. Vasquez's dinner disappointment." "I can live with that burden," They finished eating. Ennio cleared the plates without asking, loaded them in the dishwasher with practiced efficiency. Madeline checked the time. 10:15 p.m. I should go. Long day tomorrow. More second graders who need to be convinced that running with scissors is a bad idea. How's your wrist? She'd honestly almost forgotten about it in the past hour of bizarre, normal dinner conversation with a stranger who wasn't a stranger anymore. She looked at it. Still red. Definitely going to bruise. But not as painful as it had been. It's fine. Let me see. Before she could protest, he was around the counter, taking her hand gently, examining the marks. His hands were warm, careful. The touch was completely clinical, but somehow still made her heart do something stupid in her chest. Ice, he said. 20 minutes when you get home. Ibuprofen if you have it. If it's still swollen tomorrow, get it checked. You a doctor in your spare time? I've seen enough injuries to know what needs attention. That was an odd thing to say, but before she could ask about it, he'd already stepped back, putting professional distance between them again. Thank you for dinner, Madeline said, sliding off the bar stool. This was weird, but nice. Weird nice. You're welcome. Do you need a ride home? I have my car. Are you okay to drive? Was she? She assessed. Hands steady now, wrist sore but functional, head clear. The shaking had stopped sometime during the meal. Yeah, I'm good. He walked her to the door, opened it. Rain had picked up. She was going to get soaked walking to her car. Madeline. She turned back. Yes? Your number. What? Give me your number, in case Mr. Vasquez wants to complain directly to the delivery driver, or in case the restaurant has questions. That was a flimsy excuse, and they both knew it. But she heard herself rattling off her number anyway, watching him type it into his phone. Got it, he said. I'll text you so you have mine. Her phone buzzed immediately. Message from unknown number. Not a stranger anymore. Ennio. She looked up at him. He was watching her with that same intensity from when he'd first opened the door. But now there was something else there too. Interest. Intent. Drive safe, he said. I will. Ice your wrist. I will. And Madeline? Yes? Next time you're in the neighborhood, deliver to the right address. But if you mess up again, I wouldn't complain. She smiled. Couldn't help it. I'll keep that in mind. She walked to her car in the rain, feeling his eyes on her the whole way. Sat in the driver's seat, rain drumming on the roof, phone in her hand with his number saved. What the hell just happened? She said out loud to no one. Her phone buzzed again. Ennio, get home safe. Let me know when you're there. A complete stranger worried about her getting home safely. A complete stranger who'd fed her Chinese food and noticed her injured wrist and somehow made one of the worst days in recent memory end on a note that felt almost good. She started the car and drove home, already knowing she was going to text him when she got there, and already wondering when she'd hear from him again. 2 days later, Madeline was in the middle of reading time. 24 second graders attempting to sit still and read books at their desks, which was about as successful as herding caffeinated cats, when her phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it. Teachers weren't supposed to check phones during class hours, but it buzzed again 30 seconds later. Then again. During her lunch break, she finally looked. 3 texts from Ennio. Ennio. Question. Do you work deliveries on Friday nights? Ennio. If yes, I might have another order that needs delivering. Ennio. To the correct address this time, I promise. Madeline sat in the teacher's lounge with her sad desk salad and stared at her phone. He wanted to see her again. He was ordering food just so she'd deliver it. That was actually kind of smooth. She typed back, I do work Friday nights, 6:10 p.m. shift. His response was immediate. Perfect. Expect an order around 8. Madeline. What if I get a different delivery and can't take yours? Ennio. I'll request you specifically in the notes. That's allowed, isn't it? Madeline. Technically, yes. Drivers can refuse requests, but most don't. Ennio. Then I'll request you, and you won't refuse. The confidence was borderline arrogant, but somehow on him it worked. Madeline. Pretty sure of yourself. Ennio. Just optimistic. Madeline. What are you ordering? Ennio. Chinese, obviously. She smiled at her phone like an idiot. Rachel, her fellow second-grade teacher and best friend, sat down across from her with a container of leftover pasta. Why are you smiling at your phone like that? Like what? Like you're texting someone interesting, someone male and interesting. I'm not Maddie. I've known you for 4 years. You have exactly one smile and that's not it. Who is he? Madeline considered lying, decided against it. Remember Tuesday when I had that terrible delivery shift? The guy who grabbed your wrist? Yeah, I remember. I told you to report him and quit that job. I did report him. Not quitting the job. But after that, I delivered to the wrong address. Okay. And the guy who answered the door invited me in for dinner. Rachel's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. I'm sorry, what? I know how it sounds. You had dinner with a stranger? Maddie. That's literally the beginning of every crime documentary. It wasn't like that. He was nice. Noticed my wrist. Made sure I was okay. Said I shouldn't drive while I was shaking. We ate Chinese food. Talked. That was it. That was it? He asked for my number. Of course he did. And now he's ordering food on Friday specifically so I'll deliver it. Rachel was staring at her. This is either the sweetest meet-cute ever, or you're about to be kidnapped. I can't tell which. Not kidnapped. I looked him up. Ennio Marchetti. He owns a real estate development company in Brooklyn. Totally legitimate. Multiple properties, actual business, the whole thing. You Googled him. Of course I Googled him. I'm not an idiot. Just an idiot who has dinner with strangers who answer the door in robes. It was a very nice robe. Rachel laughed. Oh my God, you like him. Did she? She'd thought about him exactly 14 times since Tuesday, which was a lot. Possibly too much for someone she'd met once under bizarre circumstances. I don't know him well enough to like him. But you want to know him better. Maybe. Definitely. You're smiling again. Madeline put her phone face down on the table. It's probably nothing. He's probably just being nice. Men don't order food from specific restaurants and request specific delivery drivers just to be nice, Maddie. He's interested. We'll see. Wear something cute on Friday. I'll be in my DoorDash shirt covered in whatever the second graders decide to spill on me that day. Wear something cute under the DoorDash shirt then. Trust me on this. Friday arrived. Madeline tried not to think about it all day, which meant she thought about it constantly. She got through her teaching day without any major disasters. Logged into DoorDash at 6 p.m. Started her shift. First delivery, Thai food. Second delivery, pizza. Third delivery, sushi. At 7:55 p.m., an order popped up. Golden Dragon, Chinese food, delivery to 347 Prospect Avenue, Park Slope. Special instructions. Request driver Madeline C. if available. Her heart did something acrobatic in her chest. She accepted the order, picked up the food 20 minutes later. Kung Pao chicken, fried rice, spring rolls. Same order as Tuesday. Like he just reordered the exact same meal. She drove to his brownstone, parked, walked up the front steps. This time she was wearing clean jeans and a dark green sweater under her delivery vest, because Rachel's advice had somehow infiltrated her brain. Rang the doorbell. The door opened almost immediately, like he'd been waiting. Ennio was wearing jeans and a dark gray Henley, hair slightly damp again. like he'd timed his shower to right before she arrived. Same intense dark eyes, same strong features, same presence that made the doorway feel suddenly smaller. "Hi," Madeline said. "Hi. Chinese food. Order for Ennio Marchetti." "That's me." "I know." They looked at each other. The air felt charged with something Madeline couldn't quite name but definitely felt. "Are you going to invite me in?" she asked. "Or did you actually just want the food this time?" "I want you to come in. Food's secondary." Oh, that was direct. "I'm working." "Take a break. 30 minutes. Like last time." "You're assuming I want to take a break." "You drove here. You could have refused the order. You didn't. So yes, I'm assuming." He was right. She could have refused. Plenty of drivers did when they got requests for specific customers. But she'd accepted it immediately, hadn't even hesitated. 30 minutes, she agreed. He smiled. That same small smile from Tuesday that transformed his entire face. "Come in." She followed him to the kitchen again. He took the food, started unpacking it while she shed her delivery vest, draped it over a bar stool. "Drink?" he asked. "I have wine, beer, water, coffee if you want to be ambitious." "Wine sounds good." He poured 2 glasses of red from a bottle that was definitely more expensive than the ones she bought at Trader Joe's on her budget. They sat at the counter with their food between them, and it felt oddly comfortable for 2 people who'd met once under extremely weird circumstances. "How was your day?" Ennio asked. "Chaotic. One of my kids decided to conduct a science experiment by mixing paint and glue. Results were predictable and messy. How was yours?" "Meetings, paperwork, the glamorous life of real estate development." "Do you like it? The work?" He considered the question. "It's what I do. Whether I like it is irrelevant." That's a depressing philosophy. Practical philosophy. Sometimes work is work, and enjoyment is secondary to necessity. "Is that why you do it?" "Necessity?" "Family business. I inherited the company young. Wasn't much choice involved." There was something in his voice. Not quite bitterness, but not contentment either. Like he was saying something true but not complete. "What would you do if you did have a choice?" Madeline asked. He looked at her. Really looked at her. Like the question surprised him. Like no one had asked him that in a very long time. "I don't know," he said finally. "I stopped thinking about it years ago. That's sad. That's life. Those aren't the same thing." He smiled again. "You're optimistic." "I'm a second-grade teacher. Optimism is a job requirement. If I wasn't optimistic, I'd have quit when Timmy tried to eat glue on day 3. "Did you stop him?" "Eventually, after consulting with his parents and implementing a no-eating craft supplies policy." Ennio laughed. Actual laugh, not just smile. And the sound was low and genuine, and did things to Madeline's chest that were probably inadvisable. They talked for an hour, then 2 hours. Madeline's 30-minute break became an entire evening, her delivery shift forgotten, other orders popping up on her phone and going ignored. They talked about everything. Her teaching stories, his real estate disasters, New York neighborhoods, favorite books, worst movies. Whether pizza was a breakfast food. She said yes. He said only if leftover. They agreed to disagree. At 10:30 p.m., Madeline's phone rang. "Rachel, I should get this," she said apologetically. "She'll assume I'm dead in a ditch if I don't answer." Ennio nodded. "Hey, Rach. Where are you? You were supposed to be done at 10. It's 10:30. I've been texting you for an hour. Are you okay? Do I need to call the police?" "I'm fine. I'm at a delivery that's running long." "You're at his house, aren't you?" "Maybe." "Maddie, I'm safe. He's nice. We're just talking. Just talking. Literally just talking." "For 4.5 hours? Has it been that long?" Ennio, who could definitely hear Rachel's side of the conversation based on volume alone, was trying not to smile. Yes, it's been that long. Either he's the best conversationalist in Brooklyn or you like him. Possibly both. I'll text you when I leave, okay? You better. And Maddie? Yeah? Have fun. You deserve fun. Just also be careful. I will. Promise. She hung up. Sorry about that. Best friend. She worries. Understandable. You're sitting in a stranger's house at 10:30 on a Friday night. You're not a stranger anymore. No? No. Strangers don't know about my glue-eating students or my opinions on breakfast pizza. Fair point. He stood, started clearing plates. You should go. It's late. You have work tomorrow. Did she have work tomorrow? She mentally checked her schedule. Saturday, which meant she'd planned to do laundry and meal prep and maybe get some grading done and... Actually, I'm off tomorrow. Teacher development day on Monday, so we get a 3-day weekend. Lucky you. Yeah. They looked at each other. The kitchen suddenly felt very small. Do you want to do something tomorrow? Ennio asked. Not a delivery? Actual date, dinner, or lunch, or coffee, whatever you prefer. Her heart was pounding. Are you asking me out? Yes. Okay, yes. Dinner works. 7 p.m.? 7 p.m. I'll pick you up. Text me your address. Or I could meet you somewhere. I'll pick you up, Madeline. That's what people do on dates. Right, dates. This was a date. They were going on a date. An actual intentional date with a man she'd met by delivering Chinese food to his wrong address. Her life was weird. Okay, she said. 7 p.m. I'll text you my address. He walked her to the door again. This time she was prepared for the rain. It was dry outside, clear night, stars barely visible through the city light pollution. Drive safe, he said. I will. And Madeline? Yes? I'm glad you delivered to the wrong address. She smiled. Me too. The next morning, Madeline woke up to a text from Ennio. Ennio. Good morning. Confirming you're still alive and didn't crash into a tree while driving home smiling at your phone. She laughed out loud at her empty apartment. Madeline. Alive. No trees harmed. How did you know I was smiling? Ennio. Lucky guess. Over the next weeks, a pattern developed. Ennio would order Chinese food 3 times a week. Always requested Madeline. She'd deliver it, stay for dinner, leave hours later. Between deliveries, they texted. Morning good mornings. Stories about her day with the kids. Photos of city sunsets. Random observations. Late night conversations when she couldn't sleep, and apparently neither could he. After 3 weeks of Chinese food dinners, he asked her to an actual restaurant. Italian. Small place in the West Village. The kind that didn't have menus because the chef just cooked whatever was fresh that day. Ennio ordered in fluid Italian, the kind that came from growing up speaking it, not learning it in a classroom. The waiter smiled and nodded and disappeared into the kitchen. Show off, Madeline said. Family language. My grandmother would disown me if I didn't speak it properly. Is your family still in Brooklyn? Scattered. Some still here, some in Italy. We're a sprawling group. Big family gatherings? Occasionally. Usually holidays. Always loud. Always too much food. Sounds nice. Sounds chaotic. Those aren't mutually exclusive. He smiled. No, I suppose they're not. The food was incredible. Multiple courses, each one better than the last. Wine paired perfectly. Ennio insisted she try everything, explained what each dish was, watched her reactions like her enjoyment mattered to him. After dinner, they walked through the village. Cold October air, leaves changing, the city dressed up in autumn colors. He offered her his jacket when she shivered. She took it, breathed in the smell of expensive cologne and something that was just him. Outside her building, he walked her to the door. Awkward goodbye moment. First date officially ending, both of them knowing what traditionally came next, but neither quite brave enough to initiate. "I had a really good time," Madeline said. "So did I." Beat of silence, her heart pounding, his eyes intense on hers. "Can I kiss you?" he asked. Oh, thank God he asked first, because she'd been standing there wondering if she should just go for it or wait or... "Yes." He stepped closer, cupped her face gently with one hand, leaned in slow, giving her time to change her mind. She didn't change her mind. His lips touched hers, soft, testing, careful. She kissed him back, hands resting on his chest, feeling his heartbeat under her palms. The kiss deepened. His other hand came up to the back of her neck, fingers threading through her hair. She made a sound that was probably embarrassing, but she didn't care because this was... He pulled back slightly, foreheads touching, both of them breathing harder. "That was..." she started. "Yeah. Should we?" "Probably." Neither of them moved. He kissed her again. Longer this time, more insistent. Like now that they'd started, he wasn't quite ready to stop. When they finally broke apart for real, both of them were smiling. "Good night, Madeline." "Good night, Ennio." She watched him walk to his car, waited until he drove away, then went upstairs to her apartment and immediately called Rachel. "He kissed you. How did you... You're calling me at 11 p.m. You only call me this late for emergencies or boys. Since you're not crying, I'm assuming boy. Specifically, Chinese food boy kissed you. His name is Ennio, and yes, he kissed me. And it was really good. Like really, really good." Details. Madeline told her everything. The restaurant, the walk, the jacket, the kiss, all of it. "Maddie," Rachel said when she finished, "this man is wooing you, like properly old school wooing you." "Is that still a thing people do?" "Apparently, yes. How do you feel about it?" How did she feel about it? Excited, nervous, happy in a way she hadn't been in years. Like maybe this weird wrong delivery meet cute was turning into something real. "I think I really like him," Madeline admitted. "Then enjoy it. You deserve someone who woos you. Just also, be careful, I know. I was going to say keep me updated so I can live vicariously through you. But sure, be careful too." Over the following weeks, they fell into an easy rhythm. Friday and Saturday nights became date nights. No deliveries, just them. He took her to restaurants she could never afford on her teacher salary, and never made her feel bad about it. Introduced her to hole-in-the-wall places only locals knew. Taught her to appreciate good wine without being pretentious about it. During the week, she still did deliveries but stopped on Fridays and Saturdays. DoorDash income dropped slightly, but she didn't care. Some things were worth more than $200 a week. She had a toothbrush at his place now. Spare clothes in a drawer. He had coffee creamer she liked in his fridge even though he drank espresso black. They were together. Officially, exclusively, seriously together. And Madeline was falling in love with him, which should have terrified her, but somehow felt right. But there were things she noticed. Things that didn't quite add up. Men in expensive suits visiting his brownstone, staying for 20 minutes, leaving. Conversations in rapid Italian and hushed tones when he thought she wasn't listening. Phone calls he always took in another room. The way building staff looked at him, not just respectfully, but almost deferentially. One time she'd shown up unannounced. He'd said to drop by whenever, and walked in on 4 men in suits sitting in his living room. The conversation stopped the instant she appeared. Everyone looked at her. Ennio had smoothly excused himself, walked her to the kitchen, said, "Give me 5 minutes," and closed the door. She'd waited in the kitchen for 10 minutes. Heard low voices, heard the front door open and close multiple times. When he came back, He'd kissed her hello like nothing had happened and asked about her day. Real estate developers didn't have meetings that secretive. Real estate developers didn't have that many men in suits visiting on a random Tuesday evening. Real estate developers didn't inspire that particular kind of deference she saw in people's eyes when they recognized Ennio. Madeline wasn't stupid. She'd grown up in Brooklyn. She'd seen enough movies. She could add 2 and 2 together. Ennio Marchetti was connected. Probably Mafia. Definitely something more than just real estate. The question was, did she care? She thought about it. Really thought about it. Spent a week turning it over in her mind. He'd never been anything but kind to her. Respectful. Attentive. Made her laugh. Made her feel seen. Supported her Columbia dreams without trying to take over or make her feel small. Listened when she talked about her students. Remembered details about her life. Treated her like she mattered. Whatever he did for work, whatever family business he was involved in, he kept it separate from her. She never felt unsafe. Never felt pressured. Never felt like she was in danger. So did it matter? Should it matter? She decided. Yes, she wanted to know. Not because she was scared, but because she wanted to know him. All of him. She just had to figure out how to ask. The opportunity came 8 weeks after their first date. They were at his place on a Wednesday night. She'd come over after her delivery shift ended early. He was cooking. Something Italian and complicated that involved multiple pots and a level of attention she found both impressive and slightly intimidating. She was sitting at the counter drinking wine, telling him about a kid who'd decided to reorganize the entire classroom library by color instead of by reading level. His phone rang. He glanced at it, ignored it. Rang again. He sighed, wiped his hands on a towel. Sorry, 1 second. Answered in Italian. Walked to his study, left the door slightly open. She could hear pieces of the conversation, tone firm, authoritative. Not angry, but definitely in charge. Someone reporting something, him giving instructions. He came back 5 minutes later. Sorry, he said. Work. Real estate emergency at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday? She kept her voice light, curious, not accusatory. He paused, hands returning to the stove. Something like that. She took a breath. Now or never. Ennio, can I ask you something? Always. The real estate business, that's the legitimate part, right? His hands went still. He turned off the burner, turned to face her slowly. What are you asking, Madeline? I'm asking if you're connected, if there's more to your work than buying and selling properties. Long silence. He studied her face, looking for something. Fear, maybe. Judgment. Accusation. And if I am, he asked carefully, then I'd appreciate you being honest with me. How long have you suspected? Week 2, maybe. Pretty sure by week 4, certain by week 6. His eyebrows rose. Week 6 was a month ago. I know. You've known for a month and you didn't ask. I wanted you to tell me when you were ready. And honestly, she met his eyes. It didn't change how you treated me. You were never anything but good to me. So whatever else you did, that mattered more. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he walked around the counter, sat on the stool next to her. Ask me what you want to know. Are you in the Mafia? My family runs an organization, has for 3 generations. We control territory in Brooklyn, handle certain businesses, provide protection. Some of it's legal, most of it isn't. Drugs, trafficking. His jaw tightened. No, never. Those are lines I won't cross. Some things aren't worth the money. But other things. Yes, other things. She absorbed this. Sipped her wine. Processed. Is it dangerous? Sometimes. I'm careful. I have security. I follow rules that keep me relatively safe. But yes, there's risk. Would I be in danger, being with you? He took her hand. I would protect you with everything I have. But the association itself brings risk. People who know you're with me might try to use that. I can't promise you'll never be affected. Have you told people about me? My family knows. My closest associates know. I haven't advertised it, but I haven't hidden you either. Should I be scared? I don't want you to be scared, but I want you to understand what you're choosing if you stay. She thought about it. Really thought about it. This was the moment where she could walk away. Thank him for being honest. Say it was too much, too complicated, too dangerous. But when she looked at him, really looked at him, all she saw was the man who'd invited her in out of the rain, who'd noticed her bruised wrist, who ordered Chinese food just to see her, who made her laugh and listened to her stories and supported her dreams, who looked at her like she mattered. I'm choosing to stay, she said. Madeline, I'm not naive. I understand what you're telling me, but I also know you. The you that I've spent 2 months with. And that version of you is someone I want to keep knowing. So unless you're secretly a serial killer or traffic children, I'm not. Then I'm staying. Whatever comes with that, we'll figure out. He closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them again, there was something vulnerable there she'd never seen before. You're sure? I'm sure. He pulled her off her stool, into his arms, kissed her. Deep and grateful and full of relief. She kissed him back, hands in his hair, trying to communicate without words that she meant it. She was staying. When they broke apart, he kept his forehead pressed to hers. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For not running. For asking instead of assuming. For giving me a chance to explain. Everyone deserves that. They stood like that for a moment, before the smell of something burning made them both look at the stove. Your sauce, Madeline said. Fuck. He rushed to turn off the heat, assess the damage. The sauce was salvageable, but definitely less than perfect. We could order Chinese, Madeline suggested. He laughed. I'm not ordering Chinese every time I burn dinner. Why not? It's worked for us so far. He kissed her again, quick and easy. Fair point. A few days later, Sunday afternoon, they were at her apartment. A rare occurrence since his place was bigger and nicer and had a kitchen that didn't require creative problem-solving to cook in. She was grading papers. He was reading. Comfortable silence between them. Tell me about Colombia, he said suddenly. She looked up. What about it? How much do you need, total, for everything? Why? Because I want to know. Humor me. She sighed, set down her pen. Tuition is about $75,000 a year. 3 years. So $225,000 in tuition. Living expenses while I'm a full-time student, maybe another $60,000 total. So roughly $285,000. And you have? About $45,000 saved. So you need $240,000 more. Yes, which is why I'm looking at another 3 or 4 years minimum. No. You didn't let me finish. You were going to offer money. The answer is no. Madeline, Ennio, I appreciate it, really, but I need to do this myself. Why? Because it matters. Because I've worked for 5 years for this. Because if someone just hands it to me, it won't mean the same thing. Pride. Self-respect. He was quiet for a moment, studying her face. Then, what if it wasn't just handing it to you? What if there was a way that let you earn it but accelerated the timeline? What do you mean? I know people. On Columbia's board of trustees. I could make a call, get you a meeting with the scholarship committee. Merit-based. Full application, interview, the works. You'd have to earn it. I'd just open the door. That's still using your connections. I'd get you in the room. You'd have to do everything else. Your grades, your recommendations, your interview, your merit. I'd just make sure they see you instead of your application sitting in a pile of 10,000 others. She wanted to say no immediately. Wanted to insist she didn't need help. But she also wanted Columbia. Wanted law school. Wanted to stop working herself to exhaustion for another 3 years when there might be another way. I don't want to be someone who needs saving, she said quietly. He took her hands. You're not. You're someone who's been fighting alone. I'm offering to fight with you. There's a difference. Her eyes burned. Can I think about it? Of course. No pressure. But Madeline, he squeezed her hands. You're brilliant. You work harder than anyone I know. You deserve this opportunity. If I can help make it happen sooner, why wouldn't I? She called Rachel that night. He offered to help, she said without preamble. With Columbia? He knows people on the board. Could get me a meeting for a merit-based scholarship. And you said? I said I'd think about it. Maddie, take the help. But, no buts. You've been killing yourself for 5 years. If this man who, yes, I'm saying it, loves you, can open a door, let him. You still have to walk through it. Still have to earn the scholarship. He's just making sure they see you. What if I don't get it? Then you tried, and you keep saving. But what if you do get it? What if you're in law school next fall instead of in 4 years? Madeline thought about it. Really thought about it. A week later, she told Ennio yes. He made the call the next day. Within a week, she had a meeting scheduled. Columbia Law School, Dean Morrison, Scholarship Committee. Full interview for a merit-based full-tuition scholarship. She had 3 weeks to prepare. Ennio helped her practice. Tough questions, no bullshit, exactly what she needed. Why law? Why Columbia specifically? What makes you different from the 500 other applicants? What would you bring to Columbia's community? She answered each one, refined her responses, practiced until she could deliver them confidently without sounding rehearsed. The day of the interview, she wore her one good suit, black, professional, bought on sale at Banana Republic 2 years ago. Carried a portfolio with her application materials, recommendation letters, transcripts. Ennio had offered to drive her. She'd declined. This was something she needed to do herself. But he texted her that morning. You're going to be amazing. Good luck. Columbia's campus was beautiful. Gothic buildings, autumn leaves, students everywhere looking purposeful and intense. This could be her life. This could be where she spent the next 3 years. The admissions building was intimidating in a quiet way. All dark wood and leather, and the smell of old books and academic prestige. She checked in with the receptionist, waited in a small room with 4 other candidates. All of them looked young. Fresh from undergrad, probably. Ivy League written all over them in their expensive clothes and confident postures. Madeline was suddenly very aware that she was the oldest person in the room, that her suit was off the rack, that she taught second graders instead of working at prestigious firms or nonprofits. Stop it, she told herself. You earned this meeting. You belong here. Madeline Carter? She stood, followed an assistant down a hallway to a conference room. 3 people sat behind a long table. 2 women, 1 man. All of them with the particular kind of serious expression that came from interviewing dozens of candidates and being unimpressed by most. Ms. Carter, the man in the center said. I'm Dean Morrison. This is Professor Walsh and Ms. Chen from our scholarship committee. Please sit. She sat, arranged her portfolio in front of her, folded her hands to keep them from shaking. Tell us why law, Dean Morrison began. She'd practiced this. She was ready. I grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Queens, she said. I watched neighbors lose their homes to predatory lending. Watched families torn apart in custody battles they couldn't afford to fight properly. Watched people take plea deals for crimes they didn't commit because they couldn't afford decent representation. The system is supposed to protect everyone, but it only really works if you can afford it. I want to be someone who makes it work for the people who can't. Professor Walsh leaned forward. Noble sentiment. But you've been out of school for 5 years. You're a teacher. Why law now? Why not social work or education advocacy? Because the problems I see in my classroom start long before kids get to me. They start with parents who don't have resources, who don't know their rights, who get taken advantage of by systems that should protect them. I can teach their kids to read, but I can't give them stable housing or fair custody arrangements or justice. Law can. Ms. Chen spoke next. Your undergraduate GPA is 3.7. Good, but not exceptional. Your LSAT scores are in the 85th percentile. Again, good, not exceptional. We have candidates with perfect GPAs from Harvard, Yale. What makes you different? This was the hard one, the one she'd been dreading. I worked 30 hours a week through college, Madeline said. Paid my own tuition, graduated without family money or connections. My GPA was 3.7 because I was studying between shifts at a restaurant and sleeping 4 hours a night. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying that every point on that GPA was earned twice over. And I've spent 5 years working 2 jobs saving for law school. That's discipline. That's perseverance. That's exactly what law school requires. You do delivery work, Dean Morrison said, not a question. DoorDash according to your application. Yes, 4 nights a week. That's admirable, but it also suggests financial instability. Law school is demanding. How would you handle the workload while managing financial stress? This scholarship would eliminate the financial stress, Madeline pointed out. That's why I'm here. I'm not asking you to take a chance on someone who might not be able to finish. I'm asking you to invest in someone who's already proven she'll work harder than anyone else in the room to achieve her goals. The 3 of them exchanged glances. She couldn't read them. What kind of law do you want to practice? Professor Walsh asked. Public defender work initially. I want to represent people who can't afford representation. Eventually, maybe nonprofit advocacy, civil rights, housing law, anywhere I can make a difference for people who need it most. That's idealistic, Ms. Chen observed. That's intentional. Public defender work is hard. The pay is terrible. The hours are brutal. Most people burn out in 3 years. Most people don't have my reasons for doing it. Moore exchanged glances. Dean Morrison leaned back. Ms. Carter, why Columbia, specifically? Why not Fordham or Cardozo or any of the other New York schools? She'd practiced this too. Columbia has the best public interest law program in the city. The clinical opportunities are unmatched. The faculty includes people whose work I've been reading for years. And yes, the prestige matters. Because when I'm in court representing someone who can't afford their own lawyer, I want the prosecutor to look at my credentials and know they're not dealing with someone who's outmatched. That got a reaction. Small smiles, almost approval. They asked more questions about her teaching experience, about specific areas of law she was interested in, about her writing sample, about recommendations. The interview lasted 90 minutes. By the end, Madeline felt wrung out and energized in equal measure. She'd given it everything. Either it was enough or it wasn't. We'll be in touch within 2 weeks, Dean Morrison said, standing. Thank you for coming in, Ms. Carter. Thank you for the opportunity. She walked out of the building, across campus, back to the subway. Didn't let herself think about it. Couldn't process yet. Her phone buzzed. Ennio. How did it go? Madeline. I have no idea. Could be amazing or terrible. Ennio. I'm betting on amazing, Dinner tonight? Celebrate or decompress, whichever you need. Madeline. Definitely yes. I'll come over after I finish grading. That night, she told him everything about the interview. The questions, her answers, the impossible-to-read poker faces of the committee. You impressed them, Ennio said with certainty. You don't know that. I know you. If you gave them even half of what you just gave me, you impressed them. 2 weeks felt like 2 years. She taught her classes, did her delivery shifts, tried not to check her email every 5 minutes. On day 13, an email arrived. Subject line: Columbia Law School, Scholarship Committee decision. She stared at it for a full minute before opening it. Dear Ms. Carter, on behalf of Columbia Law School's Scholarship Committee, I am pleased to inform you. She stopped reading, started crying, read it again to make sure she wasn't hallucinating. Merit-based scholarship, full tuition, 3 years, contingent on maintaining a 3.5 GPA. She was in. She was going to Columbia Law School. She called Ennio, sobbing too hard to speak coherently. Madeline, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I got it. I got the scholarship. Silence on the other end, then, I knew you would. Full tuition, 3 years. Ennio, I'm going to Columbia. Congratulations, Madeline. You earned this. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have. Would have just taken longer. You earned every bit of this on your own merit. She cried more. Happy tears, relief tears, overwhelmed tears. Come over, he said. We're celebrating properly. That night, he cooked an elaborate Italian feast. Multiple courses, too much wine, a cake he'd somehow procured from the best bakery in Brooklyn. They celebrated until midnight, talking about her future, about law school, about all the possibilities opening up. And when he looked at her across the table, eyes soft in the candlelight, she knew this was more than just a relationship that had started with wrong deliveries and Chinese food. This was something real, something that would last. Summer passed. Madeline finished out her teaching contract. The school threw her a goodbye party. Her second graders made her cards with misspelled well wishes and crayon drawings. She cried embarrassingly hard. She quit DoorDash. Her last delivery was symbolic. Chinese food, golden dragon, delivered to Ennio's address on purpose this time. He answered the door with a smile. This feels familiar. Full circle, she agreed. They ate Chinese food and talked about the future. Law school started in September. She'd registered for classes, bought textbooks, had her schedule figured out. It's going to be intense, she warned. I'll have less free time, more stress, probably be impossible to deal with during finals. I'll take whatever time you have, he promised. And impossible. Madeline can't be worse than second grade classroom Madeline after a difficult day. You'd be surprised. He reached across the table, took her hand. We'll figure it out. Whatever it looks like, we'll make it work. You're sure? I'm sure. 1 year later, almost to the day, Madeline was in Ennio's kitchen studying for her fall semester finals. Books covered every surface. Her laptop was open to case law. She had highlighters in 4 different colors and could feel a stress headache building behind her eyes. Law school was exactly as hard as everyone had warned, but she was thriving. Top 10% of her class, moot court team, already thinking about summer internships at public defender offices. Ennio was cooking. Something that smelled amazing and required his full attention, which meant she could study without feeling guilty about ignoring him. The doorbell rang. I'll get it, she said, grateful for the break. She opened the door to a DoorDash driver, young woman, early 20s, looking tired in a way Madeline recognized intimately. Delivery for Ennio Marchetti, the driver said. Madeline took the bag, paid, added a generous tip. Thank you. Drive safe. The driver smiled, clearly surprised by the tip amount. You too. Have a good night. Madeline brought the food to the kitchen. Chinese food. Golden Dragon. You ordered Chinese food, she said. Ennio turned from the stove. I did. You're cooking. I know. So why? Because it's our anniversary. 1 year since you delivered to the wrong address. Seemed appropriate. She laughed. Set the bag on the counter. You're ridiculous. You love me. I really do. He turned off the burner, came around the counter, pulled a small box from his pocket. Her breath stopped. Madeline Carter. He opened the box. Simple ring, sapphire center stone. You walked into my life by accident, stayed by choice, made everything better by existing. Marry me. She was crying, nodding. Yes. Obviously, yes. How is that even a question? He slid the ring onto her finger, kissed her, deep and sure and full of promises about their future. You planned this, she said against his lips. I ordered Chinese for the occasion. She laughed through tears. Of course you did. Should we eat it or finish the food I was actually cooking? Chinese. Definitely Chinese, for old time's sake. They sat at the counter eating kung pao chicken and fried rice and spring rolls, planning their future. Small wedding, just family and close friends. Her graduating from Columbia. Him supporting every step. Building a life together that neither of them had planned, but both of them wanted. Can you believe this started with a wrong delivery? Madeline asked. Best mistake you ever made. Second best. What's first? Saying yes just now. He smiled. I'd argue that was the best decision you made, not a mistake. Fair point. Then the best mistake was delivering to 347 Prospect Avenue when I meant Prospect Place. I'll send Mr. Vasquez a thank you card. She laughed, kissed him, looked at the ring on her finger and the man across from her and the Chinese food between them, and thought about how sometimes the best things in life happen when you're not looking for them. Subscribe for more Mafia romance stories. Join our members area for exclusive content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.